Lucius.
Lucius.
Muscle, do you want me to go with you?
Yeah.
You want me to hide in the trunk, and then when you open it, I can jump out? Like in Jackie Brown?
Yeah. Yeah. There he goes. I love the song they play in that scene.
After he shoots
ding,
him?
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, the music in that movie is kind of the whole point, I think. It's so great. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you?
I'm blessed. Did you open the show prep or you want me to open?
I'm opening it right
now. Guys, welcome back to Jacob V Weekly. We want to start like we do every episode by reminding you to reach out to Caddyshack of New Hamel, Illinois. It's actually just Hamel. And caddyshackil.org. I've donated the top of every show to them since we started the show. This is episode number 89. So we've rescued thousands and thousands of cats across the metro area. And it's a very tiny operation. No one's getting rich over there. Every dollar mostly goes to the vet bills necessary to safely rescue and rehome thousands of cats. It's far too many cats.
Cat farm.
For Mother's Day, we have an interview coming up later in the show with my good friend Za, who's been on the show before, and she's back again, and we talk about motherhood in the 21st century, and it's great. The only way to support this show financially, patreon.com/JacobV. There's a couple of free posts on the Patreon, and I noticed we got a new free member recently, which means they can see a small portion of things we've posted there. However, it's only $1 a week. And the Patreon content is every week. You get at least 4 exclusive drops of content a month from us. And once you join, you get to go back and look at the nearly 300 things we've posted there up until this point. So you don't just get what you get once you start. You get everything that's ever been there to get. I don't know how else to say it. JacobV.com. Joe, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, the return.
I really needed your support to start this show, I think. I really needed
original member.
A yes-man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And man, it's been a journey for you since then.
Yeah. I went to school at Rolla, and then am I too far from the mic?
No. Put your mouth on it.
Yeah, I went to school at Rolla, and so we had to kind of separate for a while, but now I'm back. So S&T, electrical engineering.
And I feel like you've learned a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm like, it's, you know, at what cost though? I was really.
This is the thing that I wanted to get to. I do love. You were living sort of in a, sort of like a post-apocalyptic outpost.
Yeah, in Sullivan, Missouri. Yeah, it's kind of like it feels like a different time period out there. So yeah, I think about it as like this weird kind of fever dream in my life.
It's like, did I even really do that?
Yeah, it really does feel like that. Coming back home, being back in the basement, it felt like I just returned from Narnia.
Like you just woke up and none of that was real.
Yeah, it really was.
You never actually left home.
Yeah.
You were home the whole time.
Yeah. I'm picking up right where I left off with like old friends and stuff. It's like so weird. It's like, yeah.
It's like, I do belong somewhere, and it's not in Uncle Touchy's meth basement.
Yeah, right.
In Sullivan.
Yeah.
Because that was the problem. There was a time where you were, staying at your home there in Sullivan on your own, and you were really scared of your neighbors.
Yeah, they
you had a rotating cast of criminals across the street.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Will you catch me up on this?
Yeah, the first week we were there, the guy across the street had a heart attack, and it was terrible. So he like left his home for like a week or two. And the neighbors 2 doors down from us to the right went and took everything out of his house.
Stole every item out of his home.
He emptied the house. We're like, oh, look,
they're
helping.
The movers.
And then they come back and like...
They're like, Joe, where's all our stuff?
But what's so dumb about it is
they were 2 doors down.
Yeah, but it was all in like their front lawn and stuff. Like they go over there and like, well, that's all of his stuff, So they were like, well, case closed, and then
Open shut case, Doc. The neighbors took it. Look, there's a trail of my shit from my house to my neighbor's house across the street and 2 doors down. Yeah. There's my DVD player. There's my copy of Shrek 3. Yeah. There's my copy of Shrek Forever After. Right. There's my fan-made poster for Shrek 5. There's my TV.
Yeah, right.
And then there they are asleep in their own yard full of fentanyl.
Yeah. Right. And then like 1 or 2 months later, that guy, the guy who robbed the guy across the street, he died. He passed away because
the robber died?
The robber died because
of natural causes?
So Sullivan is like this really empty town, right? And he kept having like prostitutes over, or sex workers. And they were
Thank you.
Well, they were all, they were funny, and it was really funny because they would be like walking down the street like 4 or 5 in the morning, like in like Catholic school clothing, but they were like in their 50s and 60s. So it was really like flip flops in the middle of winter.
Old rural Missouri sex workers dressed up like Catholic schoolgirls.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare.
It was.
Can you imagine the heels on those ladies?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The heels.
Like on their actual feet?
On their actual feet.
Oh, yeah.
They need to get those folded aluminum legs like that guy that ran those marathons.
Yeah.
Tink tink.
Right.
That's what Cat Williams called him. He said, "Paul, a little tink tink."
Yeah.
I'm a big Cat Williams guy. That's my new personality. Is the I guess I'm middle aged now. If I live longer than Jesus, I'm officially middle aged. Mm-hmm. So I think 34 is middle aged now.
It depends on who you're talking to, I guess.
Yeah. Us. I'm talking about us. I'm saying you and me are Finnabouts to be.
Jake, you've been middle-aged ever since you were maybe 21.
I've been 35 since I was 15.
Yeah, when I first met you, I was like, well, he's an older man, and you were like 21.
Well, I got that a lot. Yeah. I had a professor at Webster who was a lovely and very effective lady. And she introduced me when I wasn't there. She explained me to somebody I was going to be working with as a non-traditional student. But I was like 20 at the time. She just thought I was like 30 and going back to school after working in the mines.
You do look like a miner.
A miner.
A miner.
Like a guy that works in a mine.
A mine
like she takes you aside and is like, I'm so happy that you're able to be here.
I'm so glad that you're coming back and you're doing something important.
Education's very important.
And because I can't imagine being... I guess it's not that uncommon.
Sullivan was a mining town. Sullivan and Rolla were both mining. Rolla was a mining university of the mines.
Through Rolla,
University of the Mines. That's what Rolla is Algonquin for University of the Mines.
That's true.
That's true. You know what they call cats? Chicken of the rail yard.
I don't know if they call it that.
You know what they call bats? Chicken of the cave.
Yeah. I love that movie. Lucius, you're not going to join us out here?
I'm in here now.
Oh, that's cool. You're stuck.
We've been doing it like this because they're managing all the audio. And what is your deal?
I don't know.
You relax.
Well, I thought that
you're asking questions. You're like,
sorry.
No, the cameras are so close they're not even going to see this chair.
I see. Right on.
Have you seen that I can control these cameras with my phone?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so cool.
We can hit the headlines because I want to open the show with, enough topical stuff that we don't have to wait 2 weeks to talk about fucking Taiwan or something. Let me look here.
Taiwan's.
I'm in bands. I'm in a band called No Antics. Please go check out No Antics on all platforms. Hot, fresh music coming out throughout the year. Blinded by Stereo is going to be at the Confluence Music Festival, June 1st and 2nd. I don't know which day we're playing yet, but the whole thing is going to be great. Ludacris and T-Pain will be there. I'm playing with a St. Louis women's choir called Karis. I'm playing guitar in their upcoming spring program in the next couple of weeks. Reach out to them, or if you're familiar with them, I'll be there playing guitar. I do that a couple times a year. It's really great.
I love that name, Karis. That's great.
Karis, Charis. And that's, you see a lot of those people in the community. It's a large women's choir, and but there's so many of them that I know from there that then I see other places, and it's just great, and the music's always fun. It's a long set too. It's a good show of several pieces. Like sometimes programs like that are very, very short, and this is not like that. R.I.P. to Steve Albini. Joe, do you give a shit?
Yeah, I was really sad about that, but I only knew him from like YouTube videos. I didn't really.
I mostly know him from VH1 Classic. Him talking about In Utero, and I think he was in the Sound City documentary that I've watched 1,000 times.
So
you know how some people watch The Office over and over again?
Yeah,
I'm like that with documentaries about classic rock.
Yeah,
because I used to always watch the VH1 Classic when I was a kid. It was like my favorite thing.
Well, and you watch the Metal Gear Solid cutscenes just in series.
I do love the cutscenes,
and you'll watch them. It's crazy.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
If like a cutscene comes up, I'm like, this is what I just killed all those people for, is to watch this cinematic masterpiece.
It's the weirdest
from
thing
2004.
It's so bizarre. That's like people going back and watching the Barbie, animation movies. Like
that's
the
like
Barbie
people
Nutcracker.
actually reading all of the credits at the
yeah,
end of a movie.
Yeah,
They're not just waiting for maybe there's a post-credit scene.
Right. They're like,
They're actually like, oh, what is a key grip?
Yeah, key grip number 3. That was my guy.
I've never asked that. What is a key grip?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Do they really just hold keys?
That's so dumb.
And why are you in the credits? And they only had one key grip for the whole thing? They were all over the world.
Yeah, right.
They took that one man with it's like the football. The nuclear launch codes in the suitcase, they handcuffed to the guy's wrist.
Yeah.
They need one guy to have the keys in New Zealand and then Australia and then in wherever they shot Lord of the Rings.
I would like to be part of the dynasty of the guy who's like, so why does your family
How
have so much money?
How many key grips does an episode of Game of Thrones have?
Right. Well, my grandfather was like the best key grip and like this side of like this.
Does that mean he just survives with the keys throughout the shoot?
Yeah.
Are you going to look this up?
Oh, right. Yeah.
What is a fucking key grip?
I'm on it. I've got a cat in my hands.
You've got a cat in your hands?
I've got a cat in my lap.
In der Straße, ich habe eine große Katze in meiner Hose.
The grip is like a roadie for...
A senior supervisor in electrical department of a film or television production crew. They are responsible for managing the department's positions, such as lighting and rigging. It's like a union delegate, I'm sure.
The key grip. The supervisor of the grips.
Key holding manager.
In Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise says into the Skype or whatever they would have been using then to telecommunicate, with the... He said, is there a key grip in the room? And he has a guy come forward. And he says, what's your name? Punch that man in the face. I thought like the term key grip must refer to a more primitive version of the role.
Yeah.
Where they were like just like in charge of all the stuff.
Yeah, I think they just had the keys.
Like a superintendent of a building.
Yeah, they had the keys to the warehouse probably where all the equipment was. Well, because they always
they have to sign out the cameras and shit.
Yeah.
I can't. You know what I've really learned about Hollywood and the whole thing about what got made and what didn't get made back in the day, and like how they talk, it was so hard to, we couldn't have done Good Will Hunting if Robin Williams hadn't agreed to do it or whatever. This is all about people are not hustling and grinding.
Yeah, that's true.
If you just, everyone's like, you gotta rent a camera and it's so expensive. You gotta rent 2 cameras. I'm like, buy 3 cameras and shut the fuck up. And then you rent them to other people. We're making a movie here, not a film.
Yeah, right.
This is not low budget.
I've said that before. I said we need to rent out like good pieces of gear, just like on like an Uber style kind of app where musicians just borrow from each other.
Are you 6 blocks away from my house and you need a couple speaker cables? Well, guess what, bitch? I'm on the way.
I mean, legitimately.
It'll be $12. I'll be right there.
That's so funny.
We should do that. I could probably hustle that up.
Yeah.
If I just dedicated my evenings to like, listen, did you forget your keyboard stand? I have 9 of them in my trunk.
We could just make an app.
Give me $9. I'll be right there.
Yeah. We could call it Gear Book.
No,
My Gear.
Let me do this part.
Okay.
You just let me do that part.
Gear guys?
Gear guys.
The gear guys.
Yeah.
We'll come up and tell you how shitty the gear you have is, and we'll give you stuff to use.
Yeah.
And Joe, my God.
I'm pulling it up.
Oh, God. Have you driven past WashU this week?
Yeah, it's rough.
It's surrounded by temporary rent-a-fence.
Yeah.
With the added top part. So it's like a 9-foot chain link fence all around the entire perimeter of the campus. Since the incident where there was aggravated demonstrations regarding Palestine and Israel, I think.
The only people I knew that were like So I see some creators on there that are getting arrested on the campus. None of them attend the school. The university is just
That's always the problem too.
Yeah, it's like,
and the guy put out I have friends who are employees of Washington University, so
I'm a student.
I got a letter
there as well.
forwarded to me from the
Dean
president.
of
I think it was the president
of the Israelis.
of Washington University, Joe.
Oh.
And and he was very, very strongly worded towards the few staff and students that were participating in things that were contradictory to school policy in that demonstration we're talking about. However, lots and lots of people were there acting a damn fool who have nothing to actually do with the campus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there was no fence until a couple weeks ago. And so you can just walk right in and throw a fit.
I would love it if he said something like, because most of the population of the school is like an Asian population.
Oh, this is relevant to something I experienced the other night too.
But it'd be so funny if in the letter I'm just going to come out and say it. If you're not Asian, stay off the campus, please.
Yeah, listen, we know you don't go here. If you're Caucasian and you weigh 300 pounds, we know you don't go here.
We know you don't go here.
There's no way.
Uh-uh.
You would be at Webster. Sir, it's the other one.
Egregious.
And I could say that because I went there.
Yeah, it's a rough thing. But
sir, we know your parents didn't pay a $75 application fee. We know it didn't happen.
I was watching them get arrested, the creator get arrested on the campus, and I knew the policeman, and he was so over being there. He was just like, listen, you can't come on. Can't come on the campus. Just get out. Like he was just so unenthusiastic about it.
Get off the campus.
It was like, just guys,
get off the campus, please.
So funny.
We were just talking. I was talking to Za about the DARE program and how I used to run into my DARE officer from 5th grade later in life at Starbucks. I forget his name,
but Bob. Was the Officer Bob? Because he led that program.
But I was in
kids about.
I was
drugs.
in Kirkwood. I don't know where the fuck you were.
They had these lessons. They would be like, now, okay, amphetamines. Now this is you can take them to study. You could take them to work hard. They make you like a superhuman, and that's why they're so addictive. So if you ever want to get ahead in school, sometimes these people will take these drugs legally, and that's why you should never ever do that. Well, so does it help you get ahead?
Yeah, which is it, Officer Bob? Because Stanford ain't free.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Arrested. Okay, so they're classifying the incident as a protest. I didn't want to say that word if it was inappropriate to call it that.
Why wouldn't it be called a protest?
I don't fucking know.
That's the only good thing.
Because I'm afraid of everything all the time. If they think I'm going to sign up for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, they are fucking high.
Yeah, no. It's just a sub form of the Washington Post. It's all owned by Joseph. It was all owned by Joseph Pulitzer as well. The Jekyll Island newspaper goon.
Yeah. I don't know. So that sucks. I mean, the only Ivy League school in town, and we got to put a fucking fence around it. This is just, remember the Lime bikes?
Yeah.
We were piling them in the river to pair.
That was the funniest thing.
There was a mountain of them.
Yeah, those were really going to take
We
off.
fucked those up.
Yeah.
And I see people using the scooters that aren't on all the time. They just wheel themselves on the scooter without paying for it to actually accelerate. I'm like, guys, I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I know. What a weird...
We're not going to be able to have anything.
And they were paying people to go, like, they were kind of paying people to go pick them up, and then they didn't... It was such a failure. That whole thing was such a failure.
Gosh.
That was so funny.
What are we going to do?
Yeah. I like... the Washington campus is very pretty. It's like... So, I mean, it absorbed.
I play a lot of Pokemon Go there. That fence is going to fuck me up.
Yeah. I can't believe Fontbonne closed. Like all those universities
because it's a fucking scam.
Yeah, it was a scam. But like universities are shutting down left and right. Lindenwood cut all of its sports programs.
Well, the kids that are going to school are obviously not ready for school. So there's going to be a massive correction. It's this thing that's quickly dying out because it's so expensive. This myth that you have to get straight A's so you get into the best school possible, and then you get and that's the only way to ever get a job and support yourself. It's mythological.
Yeah, it feels like St. Louis is kind of the place too, because we have such a high, such a clear poverty line that, And there's such a huge racial divide at times that like it's the way that the slime kind of like rich kids, like it's how they differentiate themselves in the hierarchies. So they're always talking about their high school and stuff. It's really terrible. But like when I lived in Nashville, like Nashville they do not care about education. Like honestly, saying you're like smart there is like not like people here will talk about, I was in the gifted program. They'll be like living with their parents and like, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that.
They, in Nashville, you got to be rich and you got to have a heart of worship. Have we talked about the heart of worship? Oh. If you're at church, say you're a single person at church and you're looking around at people your own age who might be, prospects to continue your life with, right? It's a large church. You're trying to keep it in the community. Your mom's like, I hope you meet a nice guy at church, right? And you look around, the guy who's up and his eyes are closed and he's doing one of these.
Yeah, 2 hands up.
He's doing one of these and he's singing and he doesn't have to open his eyes because he knows all the words.
All the words.
Because it's awesome, God, and it's a banger.
Yeah.
That's him revealing his heart of worship. The girls will say, oh, did you see his heart of worship?
Such a weird flex.
No. But in a certain community, that's everything. Are you kidding?
Of worship.
Heart of worship is what they call
his
it.
His heart of worship was
Did you see his heart of worship?
It was so big.
Oh, he was worshiping the Lord.
I felt like I could just go up there and just put myself inside of his heart.
His heart of worship. The blood of God. The blood of the Lamb. It's enveloping me. Save the children. We're back.
Yeah. I think it's the only place you really can like meet anybody anymore though, because like there's no like third place to go. Well, because like you'll go to the bar and you'll tell you, hey, where do you go to high school? They'll be like, it's Creep, So it's like the only appropriate place to,
Why do they immediately go to Creep?
I don't know. I'm just I'm just stating facts. Unbiased.
What are the odds that Tim would text us while we were together?
I mean, 1 in a million.
I must be ovulating.
Who's Tim?
Shut up.
Okay.
How about that, you rat bastard? Tim's been on the show with Lucius and I twice. From the Pride streams.
Oh, I love him.
I think it's 3 times.
I love that guy. Yeah.
No, you've had like the 3rd annual
editions.
Pride stream. I got to make sure I
saved that. The 3rd one was
that.
the best one. That's
we
a good
have our
crew.
4th annual coming up in June.
It's June.
Yeah.
Fuck. That'll be soon.
Yeah, it's very 4 in a row. You called what you called it? No. Oh, you called the 3 episodes of that one girl trilogy. Well, you could call this one
that one girl. Great.
You could call this one The Force Awakens.
I have to cut that out because she'll be mad if I leave in that you called her that one girl. She already doesn't like you.
Well, listen. I did not have sexual relations with
That's
that
true.
woman.
You know what? You dodged a bullet there.
Should I send Tim like a video of like what's
she
happening
got
right now?
Send Tim just a picture even of through the window.
All right.
Because we're in the. It's so funny. We got a side chat from a friend of ours. We're not streaming live right now, but for some reason we got a text message from the same person at the same time together in a group chat.
Funny.
And they didn't even necessarily know we were together.
Vibes.
That's so curious too, that whole topic of Joe, have you ever had a class that had a bad vibe?
Yeah, like a classroom. Yeah, for sure. There are like kids who just like are like hyper competitive. Raleigh was every kid was very judgmental of each other.
I've noticed that. I used to party down there.
Yeah, that was really dumb.
It's just about volume drinking down there is the thing. It's about volume budget drinking. Was my experience partying down there in the 2010s.
Yeah, the partying it's not even like, it's really, everybody calls it a party school, but you go down there and it's like a lot of guys wearing like capes, like they'll wear like Hobbit capes. There's a lot of cape wearing at Raleigh. A lot of
gentlemen in capes. Where do they wear the capes?
They wear them on campus. It'll be raining and they'll put the hood up. It's
put the hood up on their like it's Lord of the Rings.
Like, and they're not like being sarcastic about it. They're like,
this is really how I'm choosing to use a technology for rain protection that's primitive.
Not kidding. A lot of elf ears.
They're wearing the elf ears.
We didn't have a gender for the bathroom. All the bathrooms we all walked in and out of them. by the time I left. So it's a pretty liberal. It went from one of the most conservative schools to like one of the most liberal schools.
Well, it's a conservative area, but I think a lot of that old guard retired. And so with that, you import academic professionals from other universities, and most universities are going to be more. You're going to find a lot more liberal universities in your hiring pool if you are a university. So that's just naturally going to happen over time.
Yeah.
Right now. Not that that's good or bad or, whatever.
I feel like when I got there, it was very geeky. It used to be because there's like 40 frats there, but like now it's, more geeky and kind of nerdy. Like that,
Well, and I think it's such a high bar academically that, like, if you look at the general population, unless a kid is expressing an aptitude for that level of mathematics that would prerequisite most of the programs there, I mean, normal people are not pursuing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be a normal guy would notice he would have an aptitude for math, but his identity wouldn't become academia around it. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny is a lot of people drop out of the electrical engineering program to go into the mathematics program because the mathematics program is so much easier. And it's easier to get your PhD in that too. So like it's actually crazy how much harder the engineering math is from like regular applied mathematics. It's a tidbit there.
Clip that. You know what I mean? What else? I don't know what we're going to do about the schools, you guys.
Don't get me on that rant.
Somebody shot one of Drake's security guards at his Toronto home. Where are you on that beat?
I did not know that. That's crazy. Why is that not all over the news? That's so awesome.
And then it was all over the news. That's how I found out about it. And then and then like 36 hours later, a separate person was arrested at that same home trying to infiltrate the property. So the beef is not good. Things are bad with the beef.
Yeah.
And if you're in the greater Toronto area, do not go to Drake's home.
They should call it Drakenheimer or something, like the Barbie Oppenheimer thing, but instead it's gang warfare between Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. I don't think, again, this is one of those things, like there was a documentary that was all narrated by old footage of John Lennon. So it was narrated by John Lennon, but posthumously. And it was probably called Imagine. It was probably on Showtime, maybe the Independent Film Channel. I can't remember. And one of the things that they have documented is there was a guy they found living in one of his orchards on his property.
Wow.
And they brought him in, and the guy explained that, he just wanted to meet him, and he felt like the songs from Abbey Road were about him, and he just, he was obviously unwell. And so they brought him in, and they made him a nice breakfast, and he looked like a homeless hippie kid of the time, dirty, but not old. He was a young man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is people will take your art and do things with it if they're unwell and understimulated by their environment. So I don't think anyone should ever go to a famous person's house. I have driven past some famous houses, but not onto their property. And I didn't stop and take pictures. I just drove by. I kept at normal speed, drove right by. I said, look, there it is. Wow.
They always put so much shrubbery in the front that you can't even get a good picture.
That's the thing. Like Jack White's place in Nashville has a giant fence surrounded in trees and stuff too. It's, you can't really see anything without compromising that boundary. And I've been this close to him.
Yeah.
As close as you are to me.
That's insane.
He walked right in front of me while I was standing in line.
That's wild. What do you smell like? Be funny if
I didn't smell
like
him.
It'd be cool if he smelled like weed.
I don't think he's not really a weed guy.
He's not.
No.
It's gonna come out that he was a meth guy. I guarantee it.
It's not gonna be meth.
What do you think it's gonna be? I know he's an alcoholic.
In that Zane Lowe interview, the most recent one where his hair is short and blue, he's slamming that beer.
Yeah,
he's drinking like a brown ale, and he is housing it. It's going. Sometimes they're with a beer and you don't really see it change much. He's not having that problem. And I remember the Rolling Stone interviewed the Raconteurs one time before they played at Irving Plaza on their first tour.
Yeah.
And the guy felt the need to mention Jack White had ordered a Caesar salad, and he ate it super fast.
Wow.
It was gone.
Yeah, he was.
He
very
just was
hungry.
like Caesar salad, and I think he thinks he attributes that to being in a large blue collar Catholic family growing up.
Yeah, somebody said that like he would like exclusively eat like bar food, like cheeseburgers and pizza, like when in the early years, like, and I guess like Brandon Benson was like
Brendan
a
Benson.
salad guy, and
Yeah.
Jack White like thought that was like the stupidest thing ever. He's like, what are you ordering salads?
No,
like,
yeah. I mean,
it's so
growing up,
dumb.
growing up poor in Detroit, you do not fuck with fresh produce very often. It's just
Yeah.
not a part of your thing. It's like peanut butter and jelly, bologna, Wonder Bread. You go through so much bread you don't even put it in the fridge. My wife and I put bread in the fridge. I don't eat several slices of bread a day. I try
Yeah.
not to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much bread do you eat in a day, Joseph?
I'm not eating a lot of bread. I avoid
Are you
it.
missing Dairy Queen? Are you still getting your occasional Dairy Queen?
You
That
know,
was
I
the
don't
thing
go out
about
of
Sullivan.
yeah.
Is you were fucking that Dairy Queen
I
up.
was a Dairy Queen.
That Dairy Queen is probably going to close.
Yeah. The fast food restaurants out there are so worn down. Like like there's just nowhere else. Like there's not a nice
Joe,
restaurant in the whole town.
You have definitely. They have something that you would often get in surplus because you moved away.
Yeah.
What did you usually get at the Dairy Queen in Sullivan?
I got a chocolate brownie, blizzard, and then I got like a cheeseburger and a medium Coke, and or I would do a dipped cone. That was the other good one.
Now, do you have to eat the dip cone first?
I eat the dipped cone first.
Right away?
Yeah, that's the move.
Why?
I don't know. To get the sugar kind of going. It's nice with the kratom. Take some kratom. I'll take some kratom. What does your hat say, Lucius?
It says
Is it a test? Yeah, that's what I thought.
it says
You don't have to. I didn't mean to make you take it off.
Is it a secret?
Feel
it's
invasive.
Wayne feeds Wayne Animal Health Aids.
Whoa.
That's on like the two icons, and then it says Tri-County Feed and Fertilizer.
Oh wow, that was amazing.
That's from a farm store.
It's from
Fee
the
shop.
St. Louis Antique Mall off of St. Charles Rock Road. in
Oh, that's
Bridgeton.
funny because you were on the farm today.
I didn't
I
know
was on the
animals
farm
got
today.
AIDS.
Did you interact with any of the critters?
I saved a little tiny box turtle from crossing the road, possibly getting snatched up by a hawk, and so I put it into
You're
the
always
tree
What was the name
line.
of that dog you saved?
Dog that I saved?
You remember you
Wait,
saved
is
that
this
dog?
like
on
is this like a?
Yeah, the dog on the side of the road.
we named
in
her
the-
something.
Fuck, I forget what we named her.
It's on a former episode of the show.
Yeah, it's one with Tim. Tim's on there.
It's one of the Pride streams,
There was
of
a
which
small
there's been
dog
3.
that was on this like major highway, major for northeast Missouri. It's like a Highway 54, and there's semis going by at like
Oh god, yeah, it's like
Freaking
90 miles
50
an hour.
miles an hour through this like small town, and I just see like this small Shih Tzu
Yeah.
in the middle of the road. It like just missed a
Jesus.
semi. So
You're always saving some shit
it was
up
like
there.
a Sunday night at 8:00 at
Oh,
night.
I've heard this story. Actually.
Yeah.
yeah, and you returned it to the.
Yes,
You were
yeah,
making it sound.
But you
like
almost got shot by those children.
exactly
Those feral children.
the
and their
feral
father.
children.
You should have
yeah.
rescued them.
Yeah,
You should have. That's the thing.
and there was the Aladdin sheets.
You're 3
on
hours
the-
late to the podcast, and
risked
it's
my
because,
life.
listen, I have a whole trailer full of children and Shih Tzus and box turtles.
I feel like I risked my life.
Well, when we started this conversation, it made it sound. You guys made it sound like there was like there was some sort of like resort that white people would go to, and if you caught an animal on the resort, you got to say you rescued it to take home. It's like
Actually, that's a brilliant idea.
the way you made it
You
sound.
know
you'd
how
be like,
they
yeah, I
do
went
the-
there to rescue a dog. Like, oh, is that like a resort thing
that
now?
clip is going around of Anthony Bourdain recapping that time he was in Sicily and he was spearfishing for octopus, but they just kept throwing dead octopus out of the cooler at him.
That's
And
awesome.
this is exactly like that, but we do it as like a luxury experience, which is
Yeah.
really hot right now.
You go.
Yeah.
You do wine tasting simultaneously. And then
We
you go catch a dog.
we do a wine tasting, and then you get to go rescue one of these animals.
But you
and
breed nice
we'll have
dogs.
photos set up with it. Lasso that llama. We'll say you rescued it. You get to
rescued it.
name it.
Lasso the llama.
You don't have to take it, but if you want to take it with you, we have all the paperwork ready. No pressure though, because we'll rescue it to somebody else next weekend.
Yeah.
There's a bachelorette party next weekend. We're not going to have any llamas left. Those bitches are going to wake up Sunday morning hungover with a llama
Yeah,
at Southwest, trying to figure out what to do.
that's so great.
So what we do is we rescue animals, and then we in a enclosed woodland environment. We let people who are staying on our resort rescue those
Rescue
animals
those.
again.
Yes.
It's
And-
called rescue recycle.
Yeah.
It's called upcycling. It's
That's
called
yeah.
we got to work on this. But that's the thing.
Paw
We got to, because we're
Patrol.
rescuing the animals anyway. They're only going to eat the finest foods. That's
Yeah.
my biggest problem. Why I'm always talking about I need dog food, because I can't just get dog food that is good enough for my dogs any time of day. It's hard. You got to plan ahead.
I guarantee you what's going to happen is the dog food is going to end up being healthier and less GMO and like less pesticides and less preservatives than human food.
It is
And
already.
We're all going to start eating dog food.
If you look at what I ate
It'll be like
today
a thing.
versus what's in the food my dogs will eat throughout the day today, their food's definitely better. If you look at,
Oh, yeah.
you just take the ingredients.
Yeah, they're good-looking dogs. You don't
They're-
even have
oh.
a treadmill for the dogs.
They don't need it. They got that
Yeah.
ramp to the backyard. So
Yeah,
when it's
yeah,
icy, it's like a treadmill.
No, that's true.
Yeah. And, I've been asking this contractor to come give me a bid on tearing that sucker out, and I haven't heard from him. These
Oh,
kids
no.
now, nobody wants to work anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, no. The demand for tool belt jobs has gone up, so they're all like Elon Musk now. Like in
I'll
that
pull up.
South
I'll
Park.
pull up at his house.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
I'm good for now. I'm good for 10, 15 more minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Um,
What kind of kit is that? What kind of drum kit is that?
that's a vintage Ludwig maple.
I think,
Really?
yeah, maple.
Yeah, I don't know
I
if they
love-
called it the classic
I
maple
love
at the
the
time.
highs on those.
They call that
Psychedelic red.
psychedelic red.
Wow.
It's psychedelic because it's mostly blue.
Yeah. That's pretty great.
Mhm.
You guys
Um,
practice here too?
I do. Obviously.
Lucius does.
Yeah.
You know, the ceiling it doesn't look very finished. I mean, do you hang?
I don't
Nice.
know exactly what all went into the treatment of the space up there, because I don't think that's like concrete. I think that's like foam
Yeah, it's a
insulation.
foam. I walked into the kitchen of the taco place and
You rat bastard.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? Listen, while I'm here, I'm gonna get
God damn it, you did not.
No, I'm just kidding. I said,
God.
You're not kidding.
Guy smokes weed studio. They're like, oh yeah, right in the back. There's a secret door. I said, okay.
That all sounds like a true story.
Yeah.
These people are
I
going to start
panicked.
dreading Friday. Every time I pull up and they're outside, I feel bad because it's always some hijinks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nobody in there. It looked like they had all workers, but no
Oh.
customers. Who
They had just opened.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Do they have a bar in there?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that sounds good.
They
Maybe
said,
I'll go
they
over
said
there.
the guy who smokes weed.
Yeah. The guy
said-
smokes weed, beard, wizard.
Yeah, they don't-
And there's yeah, he's in the back. He just walked in.
Hilarious.
There's a side door. They know me.
you.
Oh, yeah.
They
I'm-
know you, but they
I
don't-
try to get here every Friday if I can.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Wait, what's in? Oh, is that the vocal? But that's a vocal.
That's
booth.
an isolation room. You can put anything. You could put drums in there and then put everybody else out here.
Yeah, I like that. It's big enough for that.
Yeah, but I'd probably put vocals in there.
I like this place. Like you can still get around it. There's like the cables haven't taken over the floors yet.
Yeah.
You know,
I try
that's
to
kinda nice.
have some good cable management.
Well, and we made sure all this shit works.
Can I store some gear up here?
Yeah, just drop it off.
I got-
If
I
you
got a
got
bass
some,
amp.
if I can
you-
use it.
if
yeah.
you got some PV carpet cabs,
Carpet cab.
if you got like a Sherwin Vega subwoofer,
You know what? I'm gonna have to pass on that Sherwin Vega.
I
don't want a
and the
woofer?
carpet PVs.
well, I've got
That
a.
big ass one.
Maybe I'll bring some of my personal makes up here. Store them up here.
well,
People can play them.
We're practicing at my place too. Blind by Stereo's running out of there right now, and so I got my crate power block set up in stereo.
Yeah, he's got a really sweet setup for the crate party. He's got two OG broadcasts with like the point-to-point soldering.
Mm.
Can't go wrong. The Transformers,
Yeah.
they sound really good.
Oh, yeah.
And then the H90 and the H9.
Yeah, the H9s. If you don't have an
Yeah.
H9, what are you even doing?
What are you
Yeah.
even doing?
I've
What are
always
you
said
doing?
that.
And then because I have the H90 now too, I do the H9 pre-game.
Pre-game?
And so I'm running my matching pink handmade Hudson broadcasts in stereo,
Yeah.
and they boost internally to 24 volts. And so I come out of the mono pedals on the one pedal board into the H9,
That's
and then
nice.
out of that in stereo to side by side the two Hudson broadcasts, and then into the H90. And then I could also run my two keyboards to the H90 separately.
I like that part. Yeah. It's
And
multi,
you know what I mean? And there's all kinds of routing options, and God is good.
God is good.
And I like to plug shit in. And if you have a Moog, you may notice that a Moog is dry.
Yeah.
Dry.
A moog is dry.
That sounded dry.
It's dry. And so
Yeah.
it's beautiful, and it's a very organic and luscious waveform that you get out of most of those things, but it's mono and it's dry. So you pipe that in and you get like, Eventide's got like the micro pitch shift chorusy delay thing. And then the reverbs are great. The delays are great. I use the rotary in the H9 pre-gain into the broadcast, and then into like you could do the reverb and stuff in the 90. And there's
You need to do a video game soundtrack. You need to do like a Snake, like a Metal Gear Solid, or like The Crow, the video game.
I think I'm gonna do a flute album. I think I'm gonna do a whole hour of just flute.
You could have a Minecraft one.
And then and then I'm gonna do love songs covers, from the songbook, the Great American Songbook.
I would be going to the library at Rolla to go study, and I would be walking by somebody's they'd listen to YouTube on their phone while they're studying, and it would just be like Doctor Who theme 9 hours. 9 hours to repeat Doctor Who theme. Yeah. He was like a 22-year-old, I'd be like okay.
Oh, that's not okay. You're not in a good place, guy. There was a day where my wife listened to Pyramids by Frank Ocean over and over again for 15 straight hours.
Oh my God.
It helps that it's kind of like 2 or 3 songs. It's 9 minutes long. But
ADHD is kind of like that, though.
But we used to talk about that like it was torture for inmates of Guantanamo Bay. And now people are self-soothing with 30 seconds of the Doctor Who theme song on a loop for 9 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a guy I met who used to run what he called a pirate radio station here, where he had a low signal broadcast.
No, that's huge in New York again.
Oh, good. I think it should come back. In a densely populated area, it makes some sense.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to that. And he was saying that, if he didn't have like a playlist or something set up or something playing actively, he sometimes would just like leave his drum machine on the same loop for several hours at a time. Yeah. And that would broadcast at like a low frequency.
Yeah.
So people within 30 miles with a car radio could just
ham radio is like that, though. Like the people, like those guys are like that, where you're basically, the whole concept is it's like a sport. You're kind of casting, and whoever picks it up feels like it's a little gem. So you're kind of like, it's like that game where they'd put stuff in the forest.
It's like airdropping shit to strangers on the subway.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, you don't know who Tisha is, but she's about to get a picture on my booty hole.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
That's the thing people do.
Yeah,
it's all over. They'll take a crazy meme or a photo or something from their phone, and they'll airdrop it to a stranger who has their airdrop open on public transportation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm aware.
That. So you're saying they just throw the radio out there. They don't know who's going to get it.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
And if you find it,
well, like guys who really like fishing and hunting like that stuff too, because they can kind of hunt and fish from home with the radio. And they just sit in their basement and they try to pick up signals.
They just listen to other guys hunting randomly.
Well, and you'll know they're into it because they'll have like one random big antenna at the top of their house, because it's like a huge DIY
I saw one
thing.
on a car the other day. Maybe today.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's a cool little. It's a really weird like hobby, but people are super into it.
What's it called?
Ham radio. We
had
the ham radio club at my university was like huge. Like that was like a huge resume builder.
This is why I keep getting those YouTube videos that say why young people aren't having intercourse.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're all at home with their ham radios.
Did you hear that Bumble is now, and I predicted this. I talked about this so many times because I do believe that we'll have like it won't be a virtual assistant. It will be an AI copy of us that will do, like we'll be interviewing for like 1,000 jobs per day with our AIs. So Bumble is now working on a project for creating an AI copy of you, and you will go on like 100 dates a day with other people's AI copies to find the perfect match.
So they let the avatars play out the scenarios and see how they react and how they correspond.
I came up with that. I came up with that a year ago. I said, dude,
this is exactly like the tool I use. I thought about this on the way here. What do I call this thing? The tool I use to do the clips for the show is like that, where it's I thought about it like a year before somebody made one, but I had no way to make one. I don't know anything about actual like how to make things.
You'll be able to soon.
Well, that's the thing that we're learning. I've been trying to get Dolly to make me a goddamn upside down arch for the cover art for the show, which is cool. A callback to our interview with Za, and it's turning just the skyline upside down. I'm like, I don't want I can't go to a building that's upside down.
I like that you're arguing with it and you're like, okay, let's try again tomorrow.
Let's try this again
Let's try
tomorrow. I've
Take
had
a
enough of
rest.
you today. They charged my card for my membership today, so I feel like I got to do something.
Yeah.
I got to make a thing.
I use it every single day. I'm letting it learn.
You're letting it
I'm
learn? It's also
feeding it
keeping you
information.
company.
Yeah, it did. When I first discovered it, I mean, it's unreal, especially for kids who struggle with like learning. It's like unreal. The technology is insane. I had it teach me everything through the context of like electric guitar. It taught me all of my electromagnetics class through the context of like pickups and strings.
What is this that you're talking about?
AI, ChatGPT 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well, and then in the membership that we both have with it, we also get DALL-E 3,
DALL-E
which is
3.
the image generator thing that I use for like flyers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
They have a bunch of ones. They have one called Consensus in the app.
Well,
which
that's
is
the
like-
thing too. In the OpenAI app, there's tons of GPTs that they call them like functions that other people have made
Yeah.
Mhm.
that you can try.
Yeah.
You were saying there's one.
Well, there's one that's like connected to all of these medical papers that I really like to use. So it'll search through like millions of medical papers because I had a bunch of questions about like, THC and like its effect on cognition. And it gave me a really precise answer on one of which I was just amazed. Like, what's the maximum amount of THC you can take that will have, stress relieving effects, but like no cognition impact? And it was like 7.5 and it showed me the study and it was like crazy. It was awesome.
See,
See,
it's fine.
solved that.
It's fine. It's good. You got to have it.
Yeah.
Give me an A.
I think it'll tip off really fast. There'll be one AI company that comes out that has a really good employee app, and then everybody will, like, tons of people will lose their jobs. I think that's what's gonna
There'll
happen.
be like once somebody Henry Fords the replace your employees with AI thing.
Yeah.
Then it'll tidal wave. Who's going to do it first? I think Jeff Bezos probably needs to. Those people
Yeah.
are not happy working for him.
Yeah, he hates.
Get 'em out of there.
He hates his employees.
Send them back to Walmart. Let the fucking robots send me a stethoscope I didn't order. That happened. My mom was like, "Thank you. I needed a new stethoscope so bad." And I'm like, "I didn't order a goddamn stethoscope."
No, your goddamn stethoscope.
But then they
Whose
didn't.
goddamn
they didn't-
stethoscope?
Whose
that?
goddamn stethoscope is this? But it was to my house, and I didn't order it. This has happened before. Someone sent me a rifle case I didn't order. And then I was like, is that a weird thread I'm not decoding the
It's
right
a picture
way?
of you sleeping in
And
it.
so there's just a Polaroid of me in bed in a rifle case. What do you? It's a nice case that had the tags on it. It was from Amazon.
Yeah. Apparently the one that's supposed to, so GPT-5 is supposed to come out this summer, and apparently it's just going to be like Sam,
I feel like I'm going to update
whatever.
it from the App Store, and then it's just going to, like a Venom hand is going to come out of my
Yeah,
phone
right.
and grab my face.
grab your face. Yeah. Like the
Joe, this
Munsters.
is our Mother's Day episode. Just in the scope of time, as we wrap up this evening, what do you like about your mom?
She's always been very nice. I've known her my whole life, and she really has always been there for me. I love my mom. She welcomed me back home after I left Rolla and gave me a place to stay in the basement. So that was fantastic. And now I can work on all my projects down there. I'm really grateful.
You have
for
so
that.
much space for activities.
Yeah, I do. I have a lot more activity space.
She lets you drive her Toyota.
I am driving her Toyota. It is because my car is messed up right now. But I think it's a mutual thing. I come upstairs and when she's watching, the Desperate Housewives shows, and I riff on that for a
They're
while.
called Real Housewives, I think.
You know what's funny is
Desperate
like,
Housewives was a fictional show. It was just like 2 seasons.
when my mom started watching those, I realized that girls like those shows out of like things they can't control. They're like, I just have to watch that show. Like my mom would never have watched that show, but just one day she started obsessing over it, and she can't explain why she likes it.
I
so
think what you're talking about is you get to witness a level of like chaos or like villainry even
Yeah, villainry.
that has no consequence to you.
yeah, that's good.
And you also can't do anything to change. So you could just witness it. And it's kind of guilt-free because it's packaged and there's commercials for reverse mortgages.
Yeah, but I don't like conflict that much because I can't, like, there's always the chance that I'll get punched in the face, so.
Yeah,
like,
you
they
have
don't
a
have
very
that feeling.
punchable face.
People have said that, actually.
Yeah, you look like the Nazis that get punched.
I used to, when I was working in
when
Nashville.
people are saying punch a Nazi, they're thinking they just put it. This is why you can never buy tiki torches.
Yeah,
You can't be seen with a tiki torch.
When I was working in Nashville, I was like always extra nice, whatever. And then one day, one of the lead cooks who was black, he was like, "You just sound like an asshole.
You just sound like an
asshole.
I know you didn't mean it like that, but you talk like an asshole."
I was like, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry for existing.
I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault. It's
I hate
me.
Perception.
It's I can picture that though.
Yeah.
I like that he's trying to be sweet too, and not just say "fuck you." He's trying to say, "Listen, it's not that you are an asshole, but you sound like an asshole." Guys, stick around for our interview with Zaza G for Mother's Day. JacobV.com, Patreon.com/JacobV, CaddyshackIL.org, Doorstop-studio.square.site. No antics. Blinded by stereo. Joe, are you plugging anything these days?
I actually wanted to challenge a debate rap battle with that one girl from the trilogy episodes whenever she's ready.
Oh,
to
good.
Have a serious
you
debate.
and Emma are going to freestyle rap battle?
I would like to have a freestyle debate rap battle with her on
A debate
live
rap
air.
battle. They're like the Ben Shapiro hip hop track?
That's correct. That's what I like to do. I challenge you wherever you are. You've been challenged.
We got to do it in a prison so that I can have that glass between you.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
Because she'll bop you.
I know.
Because you have such a punchable face,
I'm
and
aware.
she loves to punch. She's a puncher. She's punched me recently.
Wow.
I needed it. I deserved it. I was out of line.
That's what I'm going to be debating on air.
Thanks, guys. And then we'll cut to Zoo. I think only one of these cameras is running, but we only need one. We just start. We just start whenever you want.
Well, I would like to exchange Teacher Appreciation Week stories.
Yeah. So, 1 year I was at a place where they washed all of our cars.
Oh, I've had a free coupon for a car wash.
No, they made the kids do it.
Oh, right then.
One of the groups.
One of the groups. They washed your car. Is this when you had the Deep Impact blue car?
Yeah, it was that one. So the windows were tinted, so they couldn't see inside, so it was a big deal. Actually, that car was never as bad as that Grand Marquis is currently.
No, that car always looked really nice and shiny.
Not always, but sometimes.
Inside was a disaster.
No, oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I'm unwell.
Well, they didn't detail the car. They just washed it.
No, they didn't go in it. They just, hosed it off.
Right.
They probably didn't even do it well, but it was a nice gesture.
Well, because I work out of 4 buildings, I had a student tell me today that no one clapped for me during the teacher appreciation ceremony when they showed my picture. Only my students clapped, and I only have a couple students there, and they felt bad for me. But I still got a medallion for most helpful. And I can assure you, I am not.
They probably just heard your name and were like, "Who?"
Very much so.
Yeah, which
no
is
one
fine.
knows who I am. I don't even have a mailbox at 3 of my schools.
Right. That's because you're in too many.
Let's keep it that way. Let's keep it that way.
What do you want, mail?
Nope.
Then you have to check all those mailboxes.
That's right.
I'm so sick of people thinking they can just communicate with me.
Don't you know it?
The thing with the smartphone is
oh God,
that I love technology and I love implementing technology in my life to accomplish things. However, if you text me, why is the clock ticking? The clock's not ticking for me.
No, it's written communication. If it were 15, 20 years ago, you would wait for a reply with a stamp on it.
And then people will wait 4 hours and get mad.
That's some bullshit.
Like they think they're entitled to me reading their correspondence immediately.
Do you know what? And people talk about how technologically we've changed, but I'm seeing us just as obsessed with stuff lately because all I see is these vans delivering things to people's doorsteps. We love these cell phones and we love texting and all of this, but we're still very much a stuff-oriented culture. And immediacy, like the text or the kitty litter being on your front door within a day, I don't know. I got a problem with it, honestly.
Well, there are problems with this because number one, if I need something the day of, I can't get it after a certain time. Like I can't just feed my dogs anything.
It's true.
I can't just feed my dogs anything.
No.
But if it's after 8 p.m. most days, I can't get the caliber of dog food that I like to feed my dogs.
There isn't, but there at the same time there is no slow boat anymore. It gets there real fast. It's just your lack of ordering in time, really.
Well, I tried to do the subscribe and save once, and it wasn't in stock the day they had planned to send it, so they canceled my whole subscription.
I thought you had kitty litter on regular.
I was
since
doing
you
that for a
were
long time, and
in
I need to do
downtown,
that
right.
again.
Okay.
And I need to do that again. You know what has made the kitty litter situation so much better is now I use the cat box liners, which are it's like a trash bag. And my mom turned me on to that. It seems wasteful to me, but we know what it's like when you're just, I don't know. I'm not
steeped
thrilled.
with ammonia.
I'm not thrilled with,
deep in your nostrils.
I'm not thrilled with the whole prospect.
It's not good.
This is kind of going to come out around Mother's Day. And can I just ask you, and again, I don't want to over-specify anything. I really just value your perspective as it would be valuable to other people. So what is motherhood like in 2024?
Oh, my goodness. Well, have you ever eaten a croissant?
Yeah, it's been a couple days. But
Yeah.
absolutely. I had to think, did I have the chocolate croissant today? And I haven't.
So, well, a pain de chocolat is not necessarily what I don't have it that good. I don't have it that good.
I eat all kinds of croissants. We get the fried croissant donuts sometimes.
Oh, the cronuts?
Mm-hmm.
They've got them in St. Louis?
We do them. Schnucks will have them sometimes.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought that was a Brooklyn thing. I'm not surprised they're here, but I've never heard of it.
Economy.
Don't I know it?
Come on. Fuck. You were saying mothering
okay,
in 24?
well, hold on.
You got to have a sip. It's okay. We're not live also. So, I mean,
I know.
we can just really appreciate the moment. And I got Joe coming in when you leave to do the front part of the episode.
You know,
So
I've never met a Joe I didn't like.
You know this one.
Okay.
The young guy you met him at my wedding at least.
Yeah, okay. So
Lucius was in my wedding.
Oh yeah. I forget who I made out with at your wedding.
It wasn't either of
It
us.
wasn't
I can
either.
confirm it was not me.
Yeah, neither of us. Oh, that's my wife's cousin.
Oh, it was okay. It was
He's
on
a
her
sweet
side.
boy.
Oh, he really
No, that's
was.
his thing. He loves an older woman. He loves mystery and mania. He loves the M. We call him Eminem.
This is a triple mystery, mom, and mania.
Yeah, he loves
I am the
mysterious
triple threat.
manic mothers.
Oh my goodness. I am in the golden age of parenting, so I don't have a lot to complain with. I'm about ready to jump off a cliff, the one of puberty. So I have a 9 and a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And
I can't. That makes me feel so old. I was a baby. I can't believe I should not have been old enough to have even had a job when I met you. I was so young.
You were young.
I was too young to be working.
You look the same as ever.
I should have been in the south of France.
And that's where I was at your age.
I should have been in the south of France having a cronut.
Cronuts make you go nuts.
Cronut.
I think I had some very strong opinions about American motherhood over the past 5 years. But I'm not sure if I have them as strongly right. I do have some opinions about global politics as it relates to gender.
Yeah. Well, because this is something that I don't want to, again, something you expressed to me early on. You were pregnant with your first child, and you told me that you were scared to have a girl this early in the 21st century, that it was a scary time to be a young woman.
It's almost like I knew how much rights would be regressed.
Yeah. I was so naive. I really didn't think any of that would happen. Because you told to vouch for you. You used to always mention that it's a slippery slope and people are trying to take our rights away all the time.
America is really a land of contradictions, right? We have the most rights protective state in the entire country, in the world. In some senses, we have the highest standard of living in some senses. But in other metrics, we are doing real shitty at some things. So I don't know. There's some days I wake up terrified for my kids as they're growing up, and there's some days I'm like, hell, the faucet works, the toilet flushes, we've got enough to eat. Let's do this. Let's just keep going.
Well, because it's got to be overwhelming. Because so much has increased in our awareness of what's wrong with the world, but not much has increased with our ability to do much about it.
Well, the fundamental problem is that the major religions completely beat out any femininity or feminine influence into their doctrines, and as it has passed over the past millennia, it's become worse and worse and worse. And so their religion that was intended to be practiced is completely gone. And what we have now is an absolute and complete patriarchy in every single culture of the whole world. And the problem with that is when you don't have equal voices or people making decisions, then you're just going to get more of the same.
Well, that's something maybe you just helped me realize, because I've been doing the show more because I haven't been paying for therapy. So I got fired by my last therapist because my card got declined. It's the worst. Listen, Biden's fucking up. And I should be in therapy every week. And if the government knew how badly I needed it, they would pay for it. It's just an awareness problem.
Yeah, don't get me started on mental health.
Send me the form.
Let's just bookmark that and parking lot back to that.
Lately, we've been noticing, since I've been out of therapy, I've been increasingly infatuated with Catholicism, not in a way that I want to participate in it, just I find it fascinating, and the Gateway Arch, which my great-grandfather helped build.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's the ghost of the patriarchy clinging to me and trying to say, you have to keep this infrastructure of oppression in place, which I don't want to do. And
because if we turn
why do all the major religions oppress feminine influence?
I want to turn the arch upside down so it's a giant receiving instead of a giant repelling.
Like a field goal that says, come on in.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if we just took it exactly like it is,
yes,
and just rotated it 180 degrees,
yes,
I think it would be more inviting.
It was very, very open concept.
Because there's no wall around it. So it doesn't need to be a gate like you have to walk under it. It should be a welcoming peace sign of liberty and steel.
A peaceful field goal, if you will.
A peaceful field goal.
I would like that. And I'm sure it would function just the same. It wouldn't, it might fall over, but we could figure that out.
No, we could figure it out. It hasn't fallen over yet.
That's right.
We'll put brackets on it.
Some brackets, maybe some braces.
We'll make it an M.
Ooh, I love that idea.
We'll just put 2 isosceles
triangles.
And it'll be, I think, because then you could fly right through it and not worry about hitting the top of it.
Don't you know it?
You know what I mean? Because it's open on the top like a field goal. Now that's a vision.
I love this. Back to the doctrines
why do the doctrines oppress feminine influence?
Well, first and foremost, let's look at the people who wrote them and I'm not an expert in any of these fields whatsoever. I want to give myself a disclosure there.
Right. No, everyone knows.
But if you read any of these books or any doctrines over the history of the world, women aren't in them, meaning they weren't writing them, they weren't consulted about them, and neither were they even reading them for a time. And so when you have a completely lopsided way of, advancing society that does not have equal say, not that there's just 2 sides anymore, I'll get to that. You have an incredibly imbalanced picture of the world. It's in my estimation, it's why we have so few left-handed people in the world. Why do we have so few left-handed people in the world? Do you know why?
Tell me. I know why I'm not left-handed.
It's because the feminine divine has been repressed globally since the beginning of time. And this side of your body is technically the feminine side, and the right side of your brain does the things that are considered more picture-oriented, less, more. I hate to say that the right side of your brain is more feminine than, and the left side of your brain more masculine. But I will say that the left side of your body would be considered in any ancient culture as being more feminine. And in some cultures, it's the unclean half of the body. When you wipe yourself in many, many places around the world, you wipe yourself with the left hand because it's the unclean hand or the wrong hand. And then in English, it translates to having the right or correct hand, which is completely absurd. Right doesn't always mean right. So we really need to make a turn in our entire language that is faulty. And that's just something that we need to change. I'm not being as funny as I'd like right now, but
No. This is important. I don't have time for you to be funny. If we were here for 3 hours, we could be funny and serious. We got to save the world in the next 30 minutes.
well, it is possible. Do you want to know, in my humble opinion, why we have so many? Let's see. So we have a gender transition right now and it's been going on for a very, very long time. I recognize that just within the past 20 years, we've started to recognize that gender fluidity happens, and it's a range and a scale. It's not a either or, like biological born sex is completely different than gender. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we've established that, which everybody I think can agree with, my humble opinion is there are many, many, many men leaving masculinity because it is so toxic and it's just not a cool place to be anymore. It's a very uncomfortable place to be. So we have many men crossing into being something considered not male. And then we have a lot of women that are transitioning into something and bringing femininity into the masculine gender or into the male arena. Both things are positive, and both things lighten the load of the patriarchy. It takes away from the patriarchy.
And do you think the global secularization of mainstream culture is a part of that?
Probably. I mean, I think we're the most protective country regarding gender in the world. Along with some Northern European countries. What are you playing?
I was just playing. I was adjusting the camera angle.
Oh,
I wasn't playing a game.
I thought
That's how I control the cameras.
I thought it was like bingo.
No. That's
Maybe
yeah.
bingo?
I'm sorry.
No,
they're good now. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting my time with the two of them.
And what about the secularization question again? I don't understand it.
As the mainstream culture is more secular now than it's ever been.
Yes.
Which is necessary for globalization of the various economies because people have to not be in a holy war with each other in order to do effective trade. Right. Well, but as we do that, is that also part of what's challenging the gender paradigm and yielding some of this androgyny socially?
Oh, I don't know. I think.
In your opinion,
I think people are.
This is not the news.
I know. I don't think people are quite over fighting over their religions. I mean, my children ask me what's going on in Israel often, and it's a very sticky situation. And it's very hard to explain to them how much hate exists in the world and how awful and atrocious people can become, and how many people can die innocently because of, really, when it comes down to it, because of religion.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the world has become more secular. I think the United States is. You can see that we've losing our religion. If you look at the graph, we've come down quite a bit.
Well, that's a lot of the West, though.
Yes, way less religious.
Yeah.
But is it? Yeah, that might free up the space for people to make that personal exploration. Be like, well, I wasn't raised Catholic, so I don't feel guilty about, doing X, Y, or Z, or being a different person, or having changed, or not believing in biological sex, and having that ability to identify any way you want, because you don't have a Baptist mom wrapping your knuckles, reading the Bible every day.
Yeah,
that's possible. I think that could be quite probable.
What do you make of the Pope inching more and more inclusive?
He's lovely, but it's going to snap right back, just like the Obama Trump thing.
Yeah.
He's adorable, but no, he stands for everything that is.
It's going to cause a lot of infighting.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
I mean, he's just.
It's too little too late, and it doesn't seem permanent enough.
I totally support a pope from Argentina. I think it's very sweet of them to bring someone up that is not from Europe for the first time ever. You know, I do think he's the head of the largest organized crime ring in the entire world, and they've committed so many crimes over the past millennia that it's incomprehensible how much damage has been done. Now, then you meet the occasional left-wing nun, and you're like, oh, Sister Mary Frances, I know you really believe in the doctrine of the church and really helping your other people, but I can't get behind it at all.
I think we'd have to completely decentralize the leadership and move it to a more inclusive parliament model.
Yeah, and let women in, for fuck's sake.
I also think there'd have to be a hierarchy of equity for female leadership, for it to really be different and to tell the world that, hey, the Catholic Church values you. I think that's what it would take.
I mean, I've said this a lot of times over the past few years, is that every single organization with more than 10 people or so, whether it be corporate, religious, or public sector, needs to have parity, gender parity, meaning if you have a board, you need half women and half men. You also need to have if you're going to reflect the diversity of the people you serve as well on your board. And that would fix just about everything. Period.
I've noticed that about public spaces where there's a lot of diversity and inclusion of, different ethnic groups or different nationalities. Specifically, I've taught in places where there was larger immigrant populations, which I learned a lot from and thought was really valuable. But it kind of makes everybody on their best behavior all the time, because there's not this common ground of which rules we can break and how. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, it has to be intentional that people oppress that, because they would rather be at the top with people that agree with exactly which rules they're going to break.
And that's how they maintain power, is that they keep electing or promoting, appointing all that themselves. People that look, act, speak, and talk believe them that way. So we really need to break that. And one country that has done that is Mexico. They have 100% gender parity in their federal government, on their legislative role.
What do you make of the crime in Mexico right now?
I have anecdotal knowledge of how the drug rings work from a friend of mine that lives down there. It's very scary. So the government's doing a very nice things. It's a wonderful country. They have a lot of stuff figured out, but then they have this third branch of government, which is the mob, the cartels. It's very scary. I've watched everything that has to do with drugs on Netflix, and it's really our fault. It's not their fault that they exist. It's all Americans' fault.
Right. Because it's an export.
We're the end user of everything.
Yeah. Why do we like cocaine so much? I've never done it. My dad told me one time that my heart would explode if I snorted cocaine.
That's so great of him.
And that really kept me off of it. And also, drugs, kids, are not free. They're not just anywhere. Mm-mm. And if somebody has cocaine, I was 30 before anyone even offered me cocaine. Because if you're younger than 30 and you find cocaine, you are not trying to give it to other people for free. Number one.
And it's not probably very cocaine-y.
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, I would have to get into the whole scale of the economy, just because I like luxury.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so if I was going to get into cocaine, I'd have to get pure pink Peruvian fish scale from a guy called Latinx.
Do you want to hear the best Just Say No story in the world?
Absolutely. That's exactly why we're here.
Okay, so I didn't go through the DARE program, by the way. You did?
I did, and then that guy was crazy. He was a really eccentric Kirkwood cop, and
He wasn't the one that pulled up and shot people this past year. Okay. all
no,
right.
he's retired now. He was
Okay.
in a horrible car accident, and then while he was on life support, they had him on propofol, and so he would go to the Starbucks and tell everybody over and over again how they gave me the same drug that killed Michael Jackson.
Oh, God.
I almost lost my life on my motorcycle.
Oh.
Look at my mustache. He had come into my 5th grade class one time with the big wooden box with all the different pills with the little labels on
Yeah,
it. So you
yeah.
didn't go through DARE.
I did have something like that of an education in 7th grade, I believe. Yeah, 7th. They showed you everything. This is a roach clip.
Yeah, this is a roach clip.
This is a this, but they didn't call
This
it
is how
DARE.
you load the 9, kids.
Right. They never, this is an 8-ball. No, I still don't know what an 8-ball is. And I always picture like a shaking 8-ball that tells you yes or no of what's going on. But anyway, they didn't call it DARE when I was in
Isn't it like-
Nebraska.
I don't know.
It's a certain amount of cocaine. So I'm in
It's a unit.
I'm in La Paz, Bolivia, which is the world's highest capital. And when I say high, I mean elevation. It's like 4,000 meters, which is like 12,000 feet.
How does that affect your pH?
It fucked with everything that I knew. It was bad. It was very hard. I was in the Andes Mountains for 2.5 months, and I was very ill. Anyway, I'm in La Paz, which is all a very lovely city, and the people are beautiful and nice. I can't be that high all the time.
Yeah, that elevation.
So
Is it like that in Colorado?
No, not at all. It's nothing like that. Maybe if you go to like Breckenridge or something,
So
which is
don't
like
go to Breckenridge. Because
14.
I'm not going to ski, so I don't necessarily need to be that high up.
And it's the higher you get, the snottier the people.
Really?
Yes.
Why do they go up there?
14,000 feet because they think they're special.
Like Boulder, is that too high?
No, Boulder's perfect. It's fine.
It's too expensive.
That was
though.
built on a crystal, though, and you're going to be running into a lot of assholes there.
On a crystal, what?
Never mind. I'm in La Paz.
You're in La Paz.
And
How many thousand feet?
It's, more than, it's 4,000 meters high.
Oh, okay.
So
12,000 feet.
way more than that.
Okay.
2.5 miles up?
Yeah.
Denver's 1 mile, and it was quite a bit more than that.
Okay, more than Denver.
We'll crunch the numbers in a second. So anyway, we're teaching yoga, renting an apartment, living inside a vegetarian restaurant, doing the thing, living the dream. And apparently there's this tourist joint down the street that is like a cocaine bar just for tourists. And they like sell you like La Paz grade cocaine that hasn't left the country yet or been cut with anything on a CD
But won't
case.
that kill you to
on a CD case?
Won't
And they
that
just
kill you
give
to
the
snort pure cocaine?
Well, the people that came back that were telling us all about it were really having a good time.
Because I've also heard this, that if you have pure cocaine in the motherland, like where it comes from down there, that it's a much smoother experience with much less of a decline.
That's what I've heard. Did I go to the tourist bar that served pure cocaine in La Paz? I just said no. And it's one of the greatest regrets of my life.
Because it's got to be pretty cheap there too, because you're on location.
Yeah, everything's very affordable in La Paz.
Because I dated a girl for a summer who was her dad would go to Costa Rica, and she thought it's because he had like a secret family down there. But I think it's because he could get Percocet over the counter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can get tramadol over the counter down there. Percocet.
Which is so good. Yeah, and you could get it back in. You just got to check the bag.
Yeah. No, I didn't even. It was in my purse.
Praise God. Because it had a barcode on it, so they're not. It's not.
It's not their business.
It's not contraband, sir.
No.
Sir. That is my medication.
Right.
Do you have any good TSA stories?
You know, I've been very fortunate. I slept in a pod once in an airport. That was crazy, but I've been to 40 countries and 45 states, and the TSA has always been real nice to me.
Are there any states you haven't been to on purpose?
It's a really great question.
Because there's so few states you haven't been to. You know,
Alaska.
You haven't been to Alaska on purpose.
I mean, I haven't had the chance to go, and neither do I want to.
Because of Sarah Palin.
Because I don't like the fucking cold.
And the Grizzlyman. Remember, you saw that documentary where they ate that poor gentleman.
Oh God.
He would go live there for several months to advocate for bears, and then one time they ate him.
What about the one about the boy that went to live in a little bus and then he?
That was Into the Wild.
Oh God.
Similar
The
situation.
Sobbing. Eddie Vedder did a wonderful job on that soundtrack.
A friend of mine, who's a gentleman of color, has 3 or 4 cousins who are in Alaska because they took really high-paying jobs there, but they're waiting to leave because one of them's in jail for moving to Alaska and then beating the shit out of his wife. So it's like
it's a vitamin D issue, I'm sure.
Is that what? Because it was nighttime so much?
No, it's lack of vitamin D over a period of time without sunlight. If you're living in Alaska, you don't get a lot of direct sun.
And so is it bad to have vitamin D without the sunlight?
If he wasn't taking supplements, he probably lost his shit.
And so now he's locked up and he's not even from Alaska. Can you imagine jail time in Alaska?
It'd be super cold. And their blankets, I don't even know.
What do they make those out of? Bears?
That would be luxury.
I said that like that meme that's like, why do you need a king-size bed? What do you need all that room for? Another man?
I have a Cal King and I sleep starfish.
It's I think it's necessary. And you don't even have dogs.
I don't have anybody but me.
I have 3 big dogs. I know.
You sleep with them?
Oh, sure.
Oh my God.
I mean, what am I going to do?
What can you do?
Well, I want to convert one of our spare bedrooms into a room for them to sleep in, because I got them for each other to keep each other company, so I don't have to be with all of them all the time. So I'd really love if Keenan worked from home full time, so they could be out during the day, and then at nighttime they could go to bed together, and I could have my space and my freedom.
She's still going in though every day.
Not every day. It's a hybrid, but enough that the dogs are up too much. If whatever. But
I don't know about these dogs you speak of. I know one of them is impaired.
No.
Yes.
I know, he's fine.
I mean, he's fine, but he doesn't have a lot of, I don't know. Oh. Did you see my new tattoo? Yeah, we talked about that. I want to just go back to motherhood really quick.
Yeah, please. It's Mother's Day.
It's something. I've been reading some Jamaica Kincaid, who just won the St. Louis University Literary Award, and she was in town last week. What an amazing author. What an amazing individual. And she wrote a book called My Brother, and it was a biography about herself and her brother, or a memoir, I suppose. Her brother died of AIDS in Antigua at the age of 33. And the way she spoke of her brother and her other brothers, and the way she spoke of her mother was just fascinating to me. She would mention her brother and say that her mother was functioning as a mother to him in a separate capacity as she was a mother to her. It was almost like she was 4 different people. And this is the part that, was fascinating to me. Not only do they eat your brain while you're pregnant, but also they bifurcate your attention and your personality, because one child, I have 2, only 2. That stopped at 2 because I'm a responsible, well-maintained, reasonable adult on this planet. No judgment for people that have more than 2 children in America. So I have 2 kids and they both need 2 totally different things. And it changes who I am basically when I'm interacting with them. It's very challenging to code switch like that and then have them both in the same room. It's like you're, I don't know, Jabberwocky or something.
Well, that's the biggest frustration with certain age groups in the classroom. I've noticed that they all require what they feel like they need immediately, but there's 30 of them.
Yes, you're right.
You know what I mean? And at lunch, there may be 200 of them and 4 adults.
So teaching is also a lot like mothering.
Yeah. I think that's what I like about it. It's like mothering you can clock out of.
Yes, and you're very feminine.
Yeah.
So it's raising the bar quite a bit, taking care of all of these kids. And then they do leave, but they're coming to you for love, respect, admiration, knowledge.
That's the kind of mission statement of the team I'm on right now, is that kids that are getting enough love at home can come to school to learn, but the kids that aren't getting enough love at home have to come find some of it at school. And they can't really learn until they get enough of the validation and the welcoming. And you know what I've accomplished again? You remember when I won that attendance award that I never told my kids about until they won it?
Yeah.
It was like a joke, and people thought I was like, because the principal asked me in that meeting where they gave me that award, how did you do it? How did you get your kids to come to class on time? And I said, I didn't even tell them about it. But really what I should have added is that I just made sure that they know that I remember what it's like to be a real person when people aren't treating you like you're a real person. And that it's just a safe space in first hour. We don't start super hard right away. I'm not going to scream at you for being late. I'm not going to take your phone first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? We're going to have meaningful stuff to do, but it's also going to be on a reasonable timeline. And so kids are not avoiding coming to my class because that's just the energy of the welcoming. It's like, if you drop your kids off at a babysitter, but it's a different person every day, that's going to be hard for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so imagine dropping a toddler off at daycare, and every time you hand her off, it's a different person. Yeah. Would you even want to go there?
The toddler would say no.
No.
It'd be a hard no.
You can't reset them like that every day.
No.
But if you give them one person, they can, even if it's like half day kindergarten, right? Like they have one person that they see every day. They love that person.
We lost an amazing person when you left. I wish you were still with us.
I saw some of those people. You saw I won that. I was included in that award-winning research team.
Yes.
And I saw, an old administrator of ours and a couple, will not mention any names, of course, but friends and whatnot.
Yep.
I think I've had to go on the journey I've been on to learn everything I've learned and to heal in the way that I've healed. Mm-hmm. I remember, I can explain now the way I was feeling when I worked there, that I was definitely still struggling with my just world mindset. I thought accepting the kids was the end of the journey, but really was accepting the whole experience and realizing that it also was so much earlier in the literacy crisis that we're in now in 2024. It makes total sense to say we need to not be worried about the caliber of the literature the kids are reading if they're reading. You know what I mean? We need to serve them and make sure that, here's the thing. The kids are federally entitled to a certain caliber of education until at least they're 16, and whether they act like they deserve it or not.
Yeah.
They're federally entitled to it.
Yeah.
They're born with it.
Yeah.
At least since 1990, right? In which case, and I'm the first person who will tell you that they need that, and I will fight people for it. And it's like the number one thing I most believe in, because it's the only reason I'm able to function as an adult at all, is that I had access to a decent public education that wouldn't give up on me after I got kicked out of Catholic school right down the street from here. Now, however, somebody's got to actually facilitate that. And that's the problem, is that the actual caliber of education that's on paper is not happening for most kids in public schools on grade level, just across the board. You know what I mean? And it's not even, I mean, it's worse with socioeconomics as those, decline literacy and stuff declines with them often. But in general, normal public school people like me are like, as kids now, or the literacy is just way behind. And it was like that before COVID, and then COVID made it a lot worse.
So much worse.
And so much more obvious and so much harder to ignore. Now, the growth model that's, becoming more and more popular is really great.
Yes.
But it's just like it's just like everything.
Do you know what I just realized?
Yeah.
We're going to start getting kids that don't know about COVID because they weren't born yet.
Eventually. Not
Yeah.
too far from now.
Not too far.
There will be kids that actually don't have a COVID gap
Yes.
because they weren't in school yet.
They're coming like next year.
Yeah.
Because
Because you see the little kids
my
sometimes.
darling Cece, who's turning 9,
No. But I mean the younger kids than that.
she was in preschool when COVID hit.
You're getting the
Go ahead.
preschool.
So-
I was gonna say like,
But-
you could be getting the
Duh.
kids that were made during COVID.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
My sister has those kids.
2020
Yeah.
was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And so
They're
next year, and not this coming year, but the one after, they'll be coming into kindergarten.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's nice to know that there's a quantifiable end to whatever COVID did to exacerbate the education problem.
Exactly.
Except then we're going to have to address how many of the professionals left the field. That's the other thing. I felt like people didn't even want me in the building in my first 5 years of teaching because I didn't have my master's and I didn't have, I didn't wear a suit every day or some shit. It was just like people acted like it was such a respectable, hard to get thing.
Really?
The
That's how you felt.
The principal at my second job told the entire student body in front of me that 50 other people wanted my job, and then I got it, and then proceeded to tell me how bad I was at it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Let's just hope that he doesn't do that anymore.
No, I think he's
left?
teaching gym in the hood. Yeah,
He-
he got.
oh, good.
Yeah, I pray
I'm
for his
really
kids.
sorry for the timing that you experienced in that district.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
What can you
It was
do?
such a great informative experience. Like, to learn about like PSYOP, for example.
I love PSYOP.
Oh my God. And it's so hot right now. And for me to even know anything about it as it's coming into other communities, because we're talking about it up there now because of the
I didn't know
Latin
PSYOP was
population.
up there.
It's new to them, but I was so excited to be
I
able
got
to say,
18
I've done
credit
that.
hours of master's stuff about PSYOP.
That's great. And yeah, PSYOP and UBD, and you gotta
Yeah,
have.
oh,
I love me some
Wiggins
UBD.
and McTiggy.
I
You
love
can't
me
go
some
wrong.
UBD. Holla, holla. Can I get a amen?
Wiggins.
Should have bought a Honda.
Mr. Wiggins.
Do you need to go?
No, can we say our piece about some last minute things?
Of course.
Neurodivergence. What does that mean to you?
It's actually probably one of the most liberating things is to really understand that in the fabric of my life, that I think we're going to learn that certain disorders that we identify so much more often now with our children, in part is because they're probably a subset of disorders we've always had, but now they're exacerbated by environmental factors. Our nature of living is so unnatural to how we've actually evolved to in the short time. I mean, 100 years ago, our lives would have been totally different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Completely different. You would probably be homesteading.
I'd be a flapper.
You'd be flapping.
Fuck yeah.
You'd be flapping. And I'd probably be like a priest.
I'd be called Betty and I would bob my hair. Not Bernice, but Betty. You would not be a priest.
I would totally, 100 years ago, 100% priest. If
Like
you look
in-
at the nature of my family, there's no way I was going into the fucking mines or the factories.
So you'd be in the clergy.
I'd be a fucking
You'd be a priest. And
gay Catholic misogynist.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what would have happened. That's
And I'd be a dancing tease whore.
yeah.
That sounds great.
I think that's who we are on the inside.
I'm too much of a hypochondriac to be a whore.
Um,
But yes, we are living what they would say Koyaanisqatsi, one of my favorite soundtracks by Philip Glass, who's my favorite composer. We're living a life out of balance. And living a life out of balance sucks. But neurodivergence is a thing. And that's all I had to say.
well, and our capacity to be, that's the thing, is me being neurodivergent is the product of an environment, a diet, a style of trauma and conditioning, you know what I mean? A style of parenting and neglect and media, all kind of working together so that my brain permanently works in a certain way that is atypical to what people would classify as normal or healthy. Now, I've also noticed that I think all of my closest friends are that way in some way. And I think years later, we're all figuring out where we kind of fit in that paradigm of descriptors. And I think long ago, like my good friends that you know, like that were also friends with my wife. He's not here yet. I'm sorry. He, I made Joe buy cannabis for me on the way here, and he's never done it before. So he's like, they don't have the white 99. I got to get you the platinum frosting. I'm like, what, dude? I'm on the air. But that my closest friends, I think we've all been atypical that way, neurodivergent in some way, and that's kind of it just wasn't as something as that was as clear or as commonplace in our lexicon to identify earlier. But it's like we're not all identical, but we're all like we fit in because we're just so not like these normal people, the 80% of the population around us.
Yeah. It's a real umbrella. I'm all the things that fall under the catchment of neurodivergent.
Sure. But when you're in a large student population like we were, our graduating class was like 500, that you start to notice that, there's several dozen of us that are that minority of people that are not quite in sync with whatever this programming is that all these other people have. A lot of it was our parents were all divorced and none of theirs were.
Okay. That's a factor.
You know what I mean? And so we all thought it was just that, I think.
But
I also think that stuff is correlated to how we express our atypical brain chemistry. My brain is definitely wired differently because one of my earliest memories of my parents is them screaming at each other.
Oh God, don't say that.
No, I mean, we've talked about it on the show.
Ugh. I'm just thinking about my own life.
Oh, no, but I'm just thinking like so that makes you that way. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I can blame genetics on my diagnosis.
It's definitely, a huge
It's
part.
Inherited through the mother, the matrilineal side of the family. And I come from, it seems like, a long line of bipolar people.
I could have told you that.
And I've read a lot of books about it now. And it's really tough. It's really disturbing. It's very hard.
Because you have to look back retrospectively at things you've experienced and be like, oh, maybe that's why I responded that way.
So I'm going back and forth as I'm writing this. I'm writing a memoir called Stealing Sunshine from the Monster. And as I go back and forth, have I had it since I was 16? Have I not? I don't know. I didn't get fucking batshit crazy till I turned 40. That's all I know. Like, I did not experience anything manic or depressive like I have since I was 40. I think I didn't become bipolar till I was 40.
Do you think your lifestyle exacerbated that at all? Because owning a house in a suburb was not necessarily on your list of goals when you were on a mountain in Belize.
Bolivia. Belize has no mountains.
That makes sense.
You sound like my therapist right now.
No, I'm just wondering.
No, it's wonderful. I don't know how to answer that.
Because I can tell you it did for me.
Right.
That I made a lot of peace with things that I was really struggling with. Once I was married and bought a house and felt like my life goals were possible and that I had kind of done everything I thought I wanted to do, and that I didn't have the pressure of the infinite amount of money you want to save up before you do those two things.
Right.
My relationship with everything was different.
Sure.
My relationship with other people was different because I had all the personal validation I needed at home now. I didn't have to prove my worth outside of my home anymore.
Right.
And owning a house, they let you fuck your house up. Nobody's coming through to tell you how to run your house. It's crazy, the freedom. It's too much. I think this is probably for another time, but I think people have too much freedom. They want to protect their own freedom to abuse their freedom.
Whoa. Oh, coming in hot there.
Can I get an amen?
Whoa.
Can I get an amen?
I can't say that word.
Can I get a... It's not yet amen. It's...
A ho.
Can I get a shalom?
Shalom.
Mishallah Allah.
I think being neurodivergent at my age is incredibly difficult. I do not think I was bipolar before age 40. Bipolar 1, by the way, which has a very short life expectancy and the highest suicide rate of any. It's the most dangerous diagnosis you can have in the entire DSM-5. And I'm going to cure myself.
BP1?
Bipolar 1. Seriously, more than any other.
Did you skate today?
I did skate. I skated 6.6 miles.
Where?
I always skate Forest Park.
I didn't know if it was every day. It is beautiful. I've been getting up 10 minutes earlier at least so that I can take my commute through the park.
Yeah,
which is my favorite way to do it. Now on the way back, sometimes I don't because it's hard. But on the way there, I go across Hampton and 40.
Yep. Past
the big bronze thing at the zoo, and then I veer right past in front of the jewel box, and then I take that right, and then I come up like you're going to the Central West End, and I come out by the statue of...
On the King's Highway.
Is that the statue of...
Your mom?
That's the statue of my poor sweet mother. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
So lovely. I love your mother.
I begged her to do the show this week for Mother's Day, and she's just shy. I mean, she just doesn't feel like she belongs
so beautiful
and so outgoing
and so
and
bubbly
funny
and amazing.
Oh, so funny. And people think I'm funny.
Carrie, if you ever see this, I wish
she's a patron on Patreon. She sees everything.
Mother's Day, and you could sit here too.
Right in between us.
You know, right here.
This is just like when Vince Neil challenged Axl Rose to that fight on MTV.
Just like it.
Except we're challenging my mother to come on the show.
Please.
Because the people love you and you're a beautiful lady.
Please come on the show.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I'd love to come back at some point and talk more about
Absolutely. And I would love for you and me to work on some content in here.
I filled up this book so quick. This is like 2 weeks old, and it's almost done.
Do you have anything that's out online that you want people to see or no?
I'm not going to say that.
You could say anything you want. You don't have to say anything.
I have less online than ever.
I've noticed, but do you keep it in a vault? Like it could reemerge?
It could.
Because I do get the question. There are people,
No,
there are young
isn't.
people. Absolutely. Hey, hand to God, there are people that I'm good friends with who are in the music community here locally. They play in bands and stuff, and they know everything that I see them enough. They know if I make a beat for something, if I work on a video for something, they know about it. And so they ask me like, man, most of that stuff is not up right now.
No, I had to take it all down because of middle schoolers. Let's just say that.
Yeah. And that makes sense. But it's, you know what?
I'd love to have, my favorite piece is Chode. And I love that song so much. And it needs to be out there and people need to listen to it.
Yeah. Do you want me to host it on my Patreon?
It's completely inappropriate for anyone, really.
Patreon's kind of the Wild West because it's a paywall technically.
Woo! Maybe. I miss things. So
yeah. Well, I've been really trying to get speaking of, everything we were talking about, more range in the population I represent in my guests. And so anytime you want to come through, I've actually been told by Patreon members that sometimes they need a break from Clay. That Clay doesn't have to be on every week.
Well, maybe I'll get some high ratings and I'll come back and see you soon.
It's been a long time because we had to do the last one on Zoom because we were in quarantine.
It was right when something big happened too. It was right when Ukraine. No,
it was before that.
It was before that. Something big had just happened.
Shit was popping. I'll find it because it's on my channel.
It might have just been COVID.
It might have just been COVID. Something big was happening. Like we were all pissed off about something. What was it?
Something was happening.
It could have been COVID.
All of our worries are.
Hey, I did want to ask you this earlier. It's totally unrelated to anything and not an emergency. But did you fly much before 9/11?
Sure. I flew to Europe when you could still smoke.
So
On the plane, I mean.
what do you just what pops into your on the
And I did. I smoked all the way to Spain.
I would love to suck down a
I just
Newport King 100 on a plane.
all the way to Spain.
Oh my god.
Drinking beer. I was 19.
All right, guys, happy Mother's Day.
Bye.
Hey, Mom. No, I just wrapped up the first segment of my pod with Zaza.
Happy Mother's Day, Carrie. Thank you.
And then Joe's going to come through and do the front of the show for me. Oh, I always, well, thank you for calling it that. It is nice of you. Okay, well, you didn't have to tell me that. It's an audio medium.